Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. One dead and several others injured in St. Elizabeth House fire. Government chides opposition for its about turn on the inclusion of the Auditor General as a member of the Integrity Commission after it objected to the move in 2019. And later in sports, JFF pleased with Reggae Boys Group for final round of World Cup qualifying. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie-Ann Simpson. Here are the details. Up first this afternoon, a tragedy in St. Elizabeth after firefighters recovered the charred remains of a man. They were conducting cooling down operations after an early morning fire. More in this report.
The community of Newton district in St. Elizabeth was awoken by screams as a massive blaze engulfed a 12-bedroom house sometime after 4 this morning. 4 persons were trapped inside and the community immediately went into action.
It's terrible. When we come out, the one side of the house, the on fire already. And the lady inside, she say, help me, help me, help me. Now we go into the say, where your mommy? And she say, mommy in there. We say, all right, we'll help your mother come out. But we help 3 come out, but the next one we couldn't make it around that side. The fire went too much on that side.
Yeah, we couldn't do nothing more. That fire gets so bad. So we couldn't do nothing more. Fear for the situation.
2 units from the Santa Cruz Fire Department responded, but by the time they arrived, it was too late as the house was fully engulfed.
After 50 minutes, the blaze was contained. While carrying out our cooling down exercise, we observed what appeared to be the charred remain. Further investigation revealed that it is of one male occupant.
That male occupant is a 40-year-old Ezra Gale. His charred remains were found in the corner of a burnt-out bed. 2 of the occupants received burns not considered serious, while the 3rd person escaped unharmed. The cause of the fire is unknown. In the meantime, Superintendent Brooks had this warning for persons who live in dwellings that are grilled.
Ensure that the keys are kept at a central location so all occupants can have access in cases like this. I also want to encourage the citizens here in St. Elizabeth to be familiar with the telephone numbers for the fire stations in your area, because this will aid in our response time so we can get to the scenes as fast as possible.
Nakinski Robinson, TVJ News.
To a TVJ News follow-up, the governing Jamaica Labour Party is chiding the People's National Party for what it says is the PNP's about turn on the inclusion of the Auditor General as a member of the Integrity Commission after it objected to the move in 2019. At the time, then PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips said placing independent bodies such as the Auditor General on the Integrity Commission had become an issue, especially where they had a role to play in the crafting of reports. The issue has again become a talking point after government ministers of the Joint Select Committee reviewing the Integrity Commission Act on Wednesday voted to remove the Auditor General from the anti-corruption body to restore independence to the office. Opposition members of the committee disagreed with the decision. This was followed yesterday by a strongly worded statement from Opposition Leader Mark Golding, who said the attempt to remove the Auditor General as a commissioner on the IC represented yet another calculated step in a broader pattern of deliberate, strategic and dangerous assault by the administration on Jamaica's anti-corruption architecture. At least 2 civil society groups have questioned the motive of the government. But Government Senator Marlon Morgan says the PNP's change of position confirms what he views as the propensity of the party to flip-flop and exhibit unprincipled, dishonest and opportunistic tendencies on national issues.
The PNP's then objection to the Auditor General being on the Integrity Commission spawned headlines across media, one of which read, "Opposition calls for a review of Integrity Commission's composition." And that item of news noted objections by the PNP to the inclusion of the Auditor General as a commissioner of the Integrity Commission. The Jamaican people can be assured that when the PNP here in 2025 is pretending to raise alarm and objecting to a majority vote by the Joint Select Committee on the Integrity Commission, which, quite frankly, that vote is consistent with what it had been lobbying for. This matter is not for the PNP about principle. It is about political expediency.
The Joint Select Committee is to submit a final report to Parliament with its recommendations. The Manchester Police are warning licensed firearm holders to ensure that their weapons are stored safely at home as the parish continues to grapple with break-ins despite a reduction over the last year.
We encourage persons, since we still have challenge with break-ins, to do property marking. When you have your properties and you mark them, if they are recovered, they can be easily identified, because not all of us keep the booklets that have those identification marks on them.
Acting Territorial Officer for the Area 3 Police, Inspector Berthin Lloyd, issued the warning weeks after a 4-year-old child was killed from a bullet discharged from the firearm of her mother at their home in Ingleside, Manchester. The mother has since been charged. Inspector Lloyd also had this warning for persons traveling overseas.
We encourage you to leave the firearm at the Montego Bay police station where there's an armory or at the firearm licensing authority. We encourage you to leave the firearms.
2 weeks into the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, commanding officer for the Manchester Fire Department, Superintendent Emmerich Needham, is stressing the need for the parish to be prepared. Speaking at the monthly meeting of the Mandeville Municipal Corporation, Superintendent Needham insists residents and agencies should not let down their guard following lessons learned from Hurricane Barry last year.
Bulletins, pay attention to your safety. You know what needs to be done. Clean those drains, cut those overhanging trees that are close to your residence, check your electrical wiring, see to it that all is in place, secure your roof. Those sheets of zinc that are loose, strap them down so that you, your family, can be safe if and when a hurricane strikes.
In the meantime, Superintendent Needham disclosed that the Manchester Fire Department is adequately prepared for any eventuality.
I am pleased to inform that we have all our equipment up and running as it relates to units. We have 3 units here in Mandeville, 1 firefighting unit, 1 water tender, and a command vehicle.
He added that he will be lobbying for improved facilities for his staff at the existing building they occupy. City Inspector at the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, Alric Francis, has issued a strong warning to individuals illegally occupying public space to cease and desist or face legal action. His warning came during a cleanup operation on Hagley Park Road recently. During the operation, KSAMC crews removed old cars, tires, and various debris from the sidewalks.
We took the operation a bit further. We have not only removed over 10 derelict vehicles from Bloomsbury, Margaretville Road, but we have managed to remove over 5 flatbeds, that have taken over the roadway and the sidewalk, which have caused the road to be impossible to be used both ways and the sidewalk. We have also removed some cesspool trucks that have taken over the sidewalk on the roadway. For years, the residents have been inconvenienced because of this nuisance that exists. I am pleased to announce that those encroachment is no more.
Mr. Francis says that in some areas, 2 dual carriageways were transformed into one-way roads due to the extent of the encroachment. This, he added, caused major traffic and safety issues for both motorists and pedestrians.
Even this thoroughfare was impossible because of the garbage over the years, the garbage pile up, dirt and everything. We have come out with trucks again from the National Solid Waste, and we have backhoe, and we have cleared the road and again create the sidewalk for its intended purpose. So I want to implore the residents, let us continue to work together to maintain the work that we continue to do.
I would be very conscious to make sure that this thing don't happen again, because you have a brother up the road, him just buy truck and just park it on the roadside, and when car drive you have to walk in at the road, and these things are happening for years, and him not change.
Meanwhile, Mr. Francis says the KCMC will engage with the Jamaica Fire Brigade to discuss replacing fire hydrants damaged by illegal activities across the city. Mr. Francis emphasized that restoring these hydrants is critical for public safety and effective emergency response. He explained that the hydrants were damaged by illegal operators carrying out work along the sidewalks.
Do not return. Because if you return, we will be taking legal action. Not only will we be removing, we'll be taking legal action. Another point to note is that we would have seen a number of car dealers putting vehicles on the sidewalk for advertisement and also their operation. I'm going to ask persons across the municipality to cease and desist. The roadway and the sidewalk is for pedestrian and for free passage, likewise the roadway.
Stay in your lane. Words from Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, as he strongly rebuked recent comments by MP for St. Catherine North Central, Natalie Nita Garvey. In her sectoral presentation, she said St. James is unfit for tourism.
The Tourism Enhancement Fund was meant to fix this, to reinvest in these spaces, but instead we get signage while basic infrastructure rots. Our people clean the rooms, serve the drinks, entertain the guests, but they return home to disorder, to broken roads, to no running water. That is not tourism development. It is tourism dysfunction.
Mayor Vernon urged members not to speak on parish matters without accurate information. He defended the current state of Montego Bay, emphasizing that such statements are both misleading and damaging to the city's image.
There is no major town or city in Jamaica that is cleaner than Montego Bay right now. And I dare anybody to go ahead and do their research, take their cameras, drive around the entire country and check every major city and town in Jamaica. None. Montego Bay has 30% of all rooms in the country. 30% of all rooms in the country. Montego Bay has the largest airport in the English-speaking Caribbean. What are they talking about? What do they know about Montego Bay? They don't know nothing about Montego Bay. Stay in your lane.
And it's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie is expressing grave disappointment with the current situation that exists with the progress of the Negril fruit and vegetable market in Westmoreland. In a tour of the area, the minister criticized the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation's handling of the project. More in this report.
This is supposed to be the temporary area for the vendors to ply their trade until the Negril market is constructed. But instead, a booming garage business is in operation, leaving the vendors to remain on the site for the new market, which floods when it rains heavily. This revelation has left Mr. McKenzie baffled.
I am very disappointed, and I'm being very kind in my words. The last time I was here, the bathroom facilities were connected by the National Water Commission. Everything that was required was provided, and this is the end results. The lights that were installed were destroyed.
In 2017, Mr. Mackenzie said $75 million had been committed to build the market. The local government ministry and the municipal corporation have been at loggerheads over the construction. The municipal corporation was previously criticized for holding up the approval of the building plan for the market.
A commitment has been made since 2016. My first visit here about this market. And the things that I'm going to say next week, I'm not prepared to say it. But we have not been getting the kind of support that is required for a very important project like this to get underway.
We reached out to the chairman of the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation, Dandre Delancey, who expressed shock at the minister's comments. Mr. Delancey said the corporation has been awaiting the tender process.
We are here now waiting anxiously to hear about the financing of the project. We are anticipating, early tendering process and all of that. We're not before April. And we're in the month of June and we still have not heard anything about this project.
Mr. Delancey says he is aware that a mechanic is operating at the facility and that he has been given notice to move. He also sought to clear the air regarding the lack of support for the initiative.
I want to make it absolutely clear that we here at the WMC stand ready and willing to work with the minister on any plans that he might have that will uplift the parish. And we see this as one such plan that can greatly benefit the people of Negril and by extension the people of Westmoreland. So we would do nothing to stop such a development.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mackenzie sought to reassure the citizens that the market will be built.
It is unfortunate, and I will say no more, but I want to apologize to those who have been waiting. Not just to the vendors, but to the wider community who had expectation that this market would have been up and running.
Hal Shane Burke, TVJ News.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
The Bank of Jamaica pumped another $30 million into the foreign exchange market yesterday in an effort to ensure stability. This brought the total amount injected to $90 million since the start of this week. The BOJ, however, instructed authorized dealers to sell these funds to end users at no more than 20 Jamaican cents above the price at which they purchased them. Now further afield, Israel's attack on Iran has introduced a significant volatility into the oil market. At one point Thursday, prices in the US soared 13% per barrel. That price has fallen for now, but it's still up 5%. The spike is based on fears a wider conflict in the Middle East could disrupt oil supplies. Analysts say if Iran pulls out of the global market, oil prices could jump by about $7.50 per barrel. That's more than 10% the current trading price. It could be problematic for President Donald Trump, whose political campaign focused on both lower gas prices and unwavering support for Israel. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Nakinsky Robinson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Trinidad and Tobago remains under an orange level riverine flood alert due to ongoing heavy rain and flooding. Several areas including Rio Claro, Caroni and Arima reported landslides, collapsed roads and damaged homes. The government began flood mitigation efforts in May and is assessing aid for affected farmers. 16 centers, 38 primary and 13 secondary schools were closed, though CAPE exams continued with adjustments. School meal services were disrupted but are being redirected where possible.
Thank you, Shane. And we now head to another break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.